In the name of the one holy and undivided Trinity. Amen. Please be seated. An important night like this, long ago, Abraham, a faithful man, appears in the book of Genesis, lying on his back, looking up at the night sky. Imagine the sky he was looking at 6 centuries ago, with no one for miles, no industry polluting, no street lights disturbing, nothing to obscure the view. It must have been magnificent. A sea of stars, a riot of constellations, twinkling and shooting and blending into one another, all sorts of colors and shapes. Perhaps you have glimpsed a sky like that in your travels in the country or atop some mountain. Stars upon stars, so bright and so many, it's a field of light. God tells Abraham, count them. And you can imagine him doing so. 1, 2, 537,000, 537,001. So will your blessings be. So shall your blessings be. God said, I am yours, and you are mine, and the same to all who come after you. It was a revelation, a revolution. It's hard for us to fathom in this time and in this place. But at that moment, that night, for the very first time, humans discovered that God cared. That God cared enough about us even to commit to a relationship with us. A covenant is what we called it. It's what God called it. And everything was set into motion after that. The axis upon which our spiritual planet now spins was set that night. You can imagine how often Abraham looked up after that, checking his field of flaming gases, pinching himself with delight. Surely he came to know that sky better even than Galileo. His North Star, his Big Dipper, Orion's belt, they were his future. You can imagine how believing such a promise, such a covenant, would make his life, our lives, seem very different also. With such a blessing, relationships take on new meaning. With such a blessing, choices seem more promising. Outcomes divinely blessed, even when they are not what we wished for. We have painted the ceiling above you as a reference to that night. This is your covenant, the record of it above you. It's a reminder that you are an inheritor of that very same promise. God is yours, and you are God's. So go ahead, pick a star. It's yours. Trouble is, we don't look up that much, do we? Noticing the sky, delighting in its vast abundance, we don't greet stars like old friends, cheering on the Little Dipper as it rises with the summer nights, and wishing it well as it goes to take its winter night nap along the horizon. We don't spend time contemplating the expanse of the universe and the promise that it means of the abundance of our lives. Instead, we look down a lot. We look down at keyboards and phones and cutting boards and workbooks. We mind train gaps, and we watch for uneven sidewalks and dog mess we don't want to step in. Entire moon cycles go by without our even noticing it. Stars numbering our promises make their way across the arc of the sky without our even glancing to say thank you, let alone wow. We're too busy to look up, too busy to acknowledge the heavens or their maker. Or else our view is obscured. Look up, says God, behold the grandeur of the heavens. To our friends in the city, a precious handful of stars might be the number they can count. The bright ones, really. some of which are suspiciously moving, like the 9 p.m. to Miami. It's like, oh no. To our Christian brothers and sisters in Beijing, it's a cruel joke as they cough in the pink polluted haze. But whatever it is, obscuring our view, be it fog or pollution or sin, isn't it worth waiting for till the vision clears? The ancient book of Job is often mistaken as a simple summary of unjust suffering. And it is true. There's a lot of that. 37 chapters, actually. Job suffers excruciatingly. But the book is as much about the health benefits of looking up as it is about anything else. Finally, after 37 chapters of struggle, in the 38th, God says, I hear you. Now look up. Remember your place in the world. He says, where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me, can you bind the chains of the Pleiades? Can you loosen Orion's belt? Can you bring forth the constellations in their seasons or lead a bear to its cub? Do you know the laws of the heavens? Can you set God's dominion on the earth? Do lightning bolts report to you? Here we are. Sometimes I think that Jesus was born a child because God learned that for however often we fail to look up, to break our focus on ourselves and our self-absorption, it is a different story when a baby's around. Even the crustiest among us can't help but turn to sweet molasses with the sound of a baby's coo. Babies are like a spring morning. They're like a wedding day. They're like graduation. They're just full of infinite hope and possibility. And so into our downcast sight line, God has laid a new covenant below us, the same as the one above us, to remind us of his deep affection for us and all other benefits of his passion. According to Matthew, on the very last night of Jesus' short and revolutionary life, at dinner he tells his friends why he was born. Passing a cup around, he turns a simple table into an altar and a meal of bread and wine into the very first communion, which we will reenact tonight. And he says, drink this. This is my blood of the covenant, the one, that one. The blood of the covenant, and I am yours, and you are mine, and I will give my life for you because I have chosen you. God has chosen you. As the prophet Isaiah whispers to us from time immemorial, tonight a child has been born for us, a son given to us. Authority will rest upon his shoulders, and his names are many, including Wonderful Counselor, Prince of Peace, Everlasting Father, Mighty God. He will establish and uphold peace and justice and righteousness from this time onward and forevermore. Open your eyes. Look up. Wait for the clouds that obscure your view of that which holds you in this universe, that covenant that keeps you where you are and holds fast who you are. And wait for the clouds of this night to pass, the storms of your suffering to pass, the maelstrom of your sin to pass, or make some distance between you and that which you mistake for more important than God's promises. Ponder the vast universe and imagine the possibility that all these promises are meant for you. Claim your inheritance. You have been chosen by God. He is yours, and you are his. And upon that axis may your world forever tilt. Amen.